Yo, what is up, everybody? We have a special treat today. We're getting off the beaten path here. We're getting into aliens. I don't mean the movie, I mean extraterrestrials, UFOs, aliens, beings from another planet, all that. And we're going to try our best and stay on topic here. And but bring in my co host here, Ivan. What up? What up?
What up? What up? Where's Big Swerve?
Fashionably late, man.
He's usually the one that comes in first, and I'm like the one that's always the guest, and somehow I forced my way into just being here every week.
The guest that never went away.
The guy on
the couch.
The guy on the couch, dude.
The guy on the couch, dude. It's like, hey, can I join in on the podcast? Sure,
man, it's a good topic tonight. I'm in on that one, man.
Yeah, man, I had to bring you in on this one, man. It's a shame we couldn't have got like Davo because he's a huge UFO fucking nerd. So, he's like a UFO geek.
No, I love it too. Like this topic reminds me of like 15 years ago, before I had moved to Florida, and we would sit on the porch and literally talk about UFOs all fucking night. Like, I mean, you're talking a lot of beers in, but the topic, if it came up, it didn't take a lot of beers for it to, come up. It just took a lot of beers to stop talking about it and fall asleep. But I love this topic. I can't wait to dive into it.
Yeah, man.
I know Irving, he had some ideas that he wanted to share. So I wanted to get that out of the way first because we got some big stuff, man. We got some.
This is a cool episode, man. I mean, like when I started the podcast, it's just like you don't know what format to follow, and I felt like we were just doing too much comic book shit, right? But there's so much really cool nerd shit that's just off the beaten path that I want to start doing too. You know what I mean? So this is the first episode in this format where it's just kind of general. It's not about any specific movie or genre. It's like some real life shit. We're talking about some real life nerd shit here.
And for those watching, I have suggested stuff outside of comic books. I did suggest toys. So,
oh yeah, that's next week.
So we'll be dude. I can't be here next week. I'm going to be at the beach.
You fucking
only one I can't do next week. So
all right,
do that one without me.
Yeah. Do you have statues or collectibles?
Say what?
Do you have statues and collectibles and stuff like that?
No, but I do have collectibles, and they're pretty fucking nerdy.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about it. But so stay tuned for that episode.
I don't think anybody wants to hear us. I don't think anybody wants to hear us talk about the logistics of our next episode.
Oh, I hear you.
Kind of boring.
I hear you.
Right. Well, look, man, I thought for today I'd wear a shirt that is like straight up represents aliens, the first alien to have ever walked the face of the earth.
Wow, that is a cool shirt. Look at that.
Thanks, man. It glows in the dark, man. But when I turn off the lights, the screen light like doesn't let it glow. So anyway, I meant for it to be like a whole intro where it like glows. But
if you were going to enter yourself in the dark.
Yeah.
Wow, that would have been dope.
As Alien Jesus. I was gonna do like a Men in Black thing. Man, everything fell apart. So here I am in a fucking t-shirt.
Now I love that you have that shirt like with the Alien Jesus, because that is a lot of the things that, when you're talking about aliens, like, look, the bottom line is it's always what you think. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, there's nothing proven, right? It's all
right.
It's all just it's all just a bunch of theories and what you can gather. And
yeah, we don't know shit.
yeah, I mean, there's nothing proven. I mean, it's nothing there to say you're right, you're wrong, you know.
And not only that, like we're not like an authority on aliens either. You know what I'm saying? Like even if there was evidence, like we're not an authority. This is just like a collection of little sound bites that we've collected over our lifetime.
Yeah, talking points is what they call it.
That's it. Yeah, there you go. Talking points.
Talking points, and then
that's all I got, man.
Into what we think.
That's all I got, man. All
But,
right. So yeah, man.
Why I like that shirt, right? So let's just get right into it. I mean, I remember having conversations with you and David, and you're right. I wish he was here because you know it would bring us back full circle those conversations where like, you know, for those who aren't very religious, you know, and look, don't get me wrong, like I believe in like a higher being. You know, there's something that put us here and whatever
or not
they call it, right? But like I've always been, you know, well once we started talking about aliens when we were younger, like it's always made me kind of question the, you know, the whole religious side of like how we came here, how we became and whatnot. And I've always thought it was an interesting angle to look at. Maybe we're like a petri dish to another world. Like we were brought here by aliens, and why they visit us is because they're like, oh, let's see how they've evolved through the, you know, the millenniums that they've been there, the thousands of years that they've been on this planet. Are they growing into what we expected them to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel like we're really letting these guys down. Like, I really do. Maybe that's why they're not making contact. They're just like, man, these guys are not fucking ready, dude. They're still fighting over fucking dumb shit.
I mean, that's what they refer to as first contact in Star Trek. For all you nerd noobs here, you young Padawan. In Star Trek, they have something that they refer to as the first contact. So basically, they don't come and introduce themselves until we achieve like a warp drive. Like as soon as we achieve the ability to go out into space at the speed of light, that is the moment that they arrive on our planet and introduce themselves and all that sort of stuff. It's called first contact. It makes sense. If we were traveling through space, that's probably what we would do. Just like every country, every government has a protocol for how they conduct themselves with other countries. That's most likely what we would do. We wouldn't want to interfere with the evolution of some species. So we'd be like, all right, look, we're not going to make contact until, you know, they can travel through space. So that just makes sense.
In Star Trek, I'm not a Trekkie by no means. So
you're out of here.
You know, I'm not, dude. I'm not.
You're fucking fired, dude. Look, grab your shit off your desk. Get the fuck out.
I love the new Star Treks. And I like the which one is it? Is it 4, the one with the whales?
I don't know what part that is, but that's the Voyage Home.
Yeah, right. So that one's a really good one. I've never gotten into that.
Trekkies would argue that that's the worst one. But
really?
Yeah. But I loved it. I loved it, dude.
I love that movie, man.
Yeah, I loved it, man. That was dope as shit because they travel back in time into modern times, which was like 1984 or some shit like that on Earth, to get a whale because it could communicate with like some alien species out. It was wild shit, man.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
What was that movie where with gosh, man, it's slipping my mind. It was really good. It came out just a couple of years ago, where it was like whale sounds in a UFO, and
The Abyss?
now it wasn't the Abyss.
No.
God, man, you got to catch up on this one because you got to tell me which one it is because it's making me look stupid.
I don't know, man. That's pretty vague.
It's
The movie with the whale.
It's the one with the redhead Amy something. She goes on the ship, and she's the one that deciphers their language. What they're telling her.
Oh, I didn't know it was whales, but
Yeah, but it sounded like whales.
is that the one where they write in the air with like ink smoke?
Yeah.
Dog, I'm sorry. That movie was fucking stupid, dude.
What?
That movie was so fucking stupid.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Bro, like what kind of
blown away?
What kind of alien fucking like chooses to fucking communicate through like ink smoke in the air? Like if the wind's blowing, like now we can't communicate. Like I don't know, that whole concept was really like
I am astonished that you didn't like that movie.
Nah, sorry.
I can't even remember what was the name of that damn movie.
I don't know. I don't
You know
remember.
what? I'd
Couldn't have
remember
been that good.
If I knew we were going to bring it up, I would have looked it up just to talk about that movie. But for those of you watching this, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know that shit's good. Don't listen to this fucking guy. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about because that fucking dope as shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not bad. I would give it like a 6 or a 7.
What?
Yeah, it's not horrible. It's above average conceptually, but there's a lot of holes in it, man. Like I don't see an advanced species like communicating through smoke. Like it doesn't make sense.
All right.
I don't know.
All right. I have to agree to disagree. Let me take a shot, and then I'll get over what you just did there because I really think it could have been better.
Right on. Got it. Salud.
Cheers. Anyways, going with what we used to talk about, like when you brought up Star Trek, I always thought that concept of the first contact, right? I always thought that was really cool. And like I said, I'm not a Trekkie at all. But I always thought that concept was really cool because
it makes sense, dude.
It would make total sense. Like, and
you would change the evolution of a species if you did not wait for that moment. Like
no, you're right. And the thing is that when you think of like Star Trek, right? What I do find cool about it is that once space travel is a thing on Earth, and correct me if I'm wrong, it just doesn't seem like there's this there's like this massive divide of like countries. It's kind of like Earth, and then they're sending people out into space. There's not like a, you know what I mean, like the Russian space program, NASA program, and I mean Ecuador doesn't have a program, but they wouldn't. You know what I mean?
They would just procrastinate for a really long time.
God, what would the Ecuadorian? For those that don't know where Ecuador is, so don't,
The kitchen would be the biggest part of the whole ship. They'd have a rice silo instead of like.
They're making mondongo and shit. Like.
They're like, we got to replace one of the rockets with a rice silo.
Serving rice with everything, dude.
That's all they would eat, dog, is plantains and fucking rice, dude.
Man, if they were the ones that made it off this planet first and made contact, they'd be like, damn, Earth eats a lot of fucking rice. This is the
They must love rice.
This must be the most abundant resource on that planet. Like,
it must be full of nutrients.
Like nothing else, man. I'm telling you, dude, Italians aren't even close on how much fucking pasta they eat.
No, nah, dog, they ain't got shit.
An Ecuadorian eating rice, dude.
Our starch, dog, we are starch kings of Earth, dude.
It's awful. It is awful.
Coincidentally, we all have diabetes and huge bellies. Correlation, not causation, I swear.
We are definitely the race that if he said you're gonna end up like your father, yeah. It looks just I look just like my dad, dude. Little bit too much on the waist, and it's all fucking rice, dude. Like,
oh, it's all rice.
And I've done a much better job than some people in my family, like with adapting to, hey, you know what? You don't have to have fucking rice with everything. Like in our country, they eat fucking rice with spaghetti.
Dog, I was just about to say that.
I still can't wrap my head around that.
When me and Kristen first started dating, she would make spaghetti, and then I'd be like, "Where's the rice?" She's like, "Rice." And I'd have to make my own rice. I'm like, you have to have rice with spaghetti.
Mojado, dude. Like
the only thing worse than that would be to have rice with your spaghetti and then some French fries. Like that would be only some mashed potato on the side, dude.
Mashed potatoes and rice. And
with toast.
My mom would put that on my plate when I was a little kid, dude. You know. That shit's crazy. But anyways, you know.
Yeah. Let's get back to
yeah, anyways, sorry for the tangent. It was definitely well deserved to call out, because I know John is probably gonna watch this and he's gonna be like, damn, dog, why are you putting us out there like that?
He's gonna be like, hold up, you're not supposed to eat rice with spaghetti. Nah, man, it took me a while to stop eating so much fucking rice. I swear to God. I swear that's the reason I don't have fat neck. You notice most Latinos, like once they hit 30, it's like their ears go down to their shoulder. The fucking rice, dog, is fat neck. Latinos be having fat neck, dog. Cut that shit out.
Oh man. Well, look, so you're half El Salvadorian.
I'm half Salvadorian. Yeah, it ain't no better. Motherfucker eating tortillas like shit.
Tortillas, dude. Like time. Like it's going out of style. So you're like the fucking ultra carb, like
ultra carb.
The two countries that just will not stop eating carbs.
I'm telling you, man.
No one's gonna tell them any different. They're not listening to that shit. That is their cuisine, and it's been like that for a long time, and no one's gonna change it. So that being said, anyways,
let's get into it.
I always thought that concept was cool, that like, and correct me if I'm wrong, like I said, like that it was kind of like Earth, and they just gathered like the great minds of Earth who were like, I guess like a military, and they sent them off to explore the universe, or the, you know, whatever solar systems they could get to.
Yeah.
And that's why there was like every race was represented on the Starship Enterprise, you know, right. Like everybody was represented on there, you know what I mean? Like even back in like, you know, the 50s, where like if you were an actor and you weren't, and you were a minority, you couldn't get a job, you know what I mean? But yeah, they still made sure that like the world was represented on it. And I always thought that was a cool concept because that's really, don't you think that's kind of how it would be? Like if we made first contact, it would kind of like borders would dissolve. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. I don't know, man. Humans are kind of weird. I think that the moment we make it out into space, like colonize, let's say Mars or whatever, um, I think history repeats itself. I think what'll happen is a good example of this would be when we discovered the Americas. You know what I'm saying? I think that's exactly what would happen. We'd put some flags down. Some other country would inevitably make it, and they'd put flags down, and it's gonna repeat itself, dude, over and over and over. I don't think humans are at that point yet. Like I just don't. You know what I'm saying? I think we're still trying to catch up. I think it's a philosopher. Some motherfucker once said humans are gods without the wisdom. And that's really true, man. It's like we're just monkeys that are able to slap like fossil fuel in a fucking tank and like shoot ourselves. Like, think of how archaic that is, dude. Like, we're just shooting ourselves into space in
I
like
feel like we'd be the Klingons. Like seriously, if we had
we are very Klingon. Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like we're just like, you know what I mean?
Klingons, but like Klingons with like really good technology. Like really good technology.
Like I feel like if we got to that point, we're not worried about making peace.
Oh hell no.
We're
Oh,
worried about conquering. And
well, resources. We're
how,
obsessed with resources. I mean,
yeah.
like I said, history repeats itself. Look what we did to the Native Americans. Look what we did to Africans, right? It's just that is what we do. Like the human species will go to another to another country or planet in this case, and just want to take the resources. There's been very little people on Earth that when they found another tribe or another country or another kingdom or empire, whatever, made peace. Like that rarely happened. You know what I'm saying?
No, and that reminds me of this that line in the Matrix when Agent Smith uh, compares the human race to a virus,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
love that line.
Yeah,
It's
we resemble a virus for sure.
like it's just we just consume and don't
Yeah,
give
man.
back. Like it's
Yeah,
not.
and in a lot of ways we're like a mold if you think about it, man. No, no. There's a reason I say mold, man. It's because like
Please.
it's like a bacteria almost. Like you ever seen like I say mold because mold grows in a three-dimensional way. You know what I'm saying? Where like bacteria just kind of spreads outward. But like if you were to look at Earth from space and you see cities like rising up into the sky, it almost looks like a fungus that's growing on Earth. It's just like reaching up. But
No,
that's what we do, man.
like that. That's a good analogy. But yeah,
Um,
you know the but back to what your shirt and
yeah.
back to your shirt. I mean, you know, if you really think about it, right?
Mhm.
Like is it that far fetched that you know? Is it that far fetched that the you know the gods that we worship, like biblically,
Right.
aren't aliens? Like, you know what I mean? Is it that far fetched to think of along those lines? I mean, it. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, come down with light. Like, if you think about the stuff, I mean, it's kind of
Yeah,
like
man. So I don't want to cut you off. I think you're hitting on something so fucking awesome. But I am saving that for last. Like the um, that's the IRL of our episode in real life. I wanted to just hit like nerdom. Um, So let's get into that first, because I really do want to get into that. So I just want to kind of go through this really quick.
All right. So we'll do the build up to that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right. So I wanted to hit some video games first. And you know, for all you nerds out there, man, I get it. Okay, I get it. I know there's a million gajillion fucking games out there and a million gajillion movies. I just picked some. Yes, you're right. I could have fucking Googled some list somewhere and just been a fucking douche and acted like I came up with those. But I didn't. I spent time thinking of shit that affected me, and this is my goddamn list. Doesn't mean they're the best. It's just what I came up with. So for video games, one of the advantages of being poor growing up is that I got to play video games that like nobody knew about. You know what I'm saying? It was the fucking $5.99 game that like nobody wanted. You know what I'm saying?
I was waiting for the advantage of being poor because
yeah, man.
I was like, oh shit, there's an advantage there.
Oh
like,
hell yeah, dude! Listen, when you got the shitty bike without the handbrakes and you gotta like kick your foot back to do the brakes. Listen to me. No,
on the back tire, dog. Like,
nah, dude. You'd have to hit the pedals in reverse, and that's what would break. That's what would make you break. You didn't have handbrakes, but no one could skid better than me.
No one could skid better than a poor man. Like,
exactly.
If you were poor, you could skid like 18 feet.
You could skid like a motherfucker.
If you had like a pink tire or like an off-colored tire, like you thought you were so cool. You were like, damn, look at the tire on that black asphalt, dude. Like you skid 18 feet. Look at that motherfucker go.
Damn, who is that guy?
Who is that guy? He's cool as shit. Like
hey, shit.
You could swear on that joint? Like,
oh, that's how beast I was at skidding. I used to sign my name in cursive. Anyway, check it out, man. The video game I used to play was this joint. Dog, tell me this ain't no fucking a xenomorph fucking aliens knockoff game, dog. What?
I think I might have played this game
at my house.
Xenophobe.
Yeah, Xenophobe, dog. That joint was.
I played that game.
That joint was tight.
Dude, that was so long ago. I swear I played that game, and it was probably sure.
Dog, that joint was tight as shit.
Yeah, show some graphics on it. Do you have graphics? Not just the because the cover doesn't. You know what I mean? Like it. We're talking. You just put up a Sunsoft game. I mean that's at least 35 years old.
Yeah.
If you're gonna bring somebody back to it, you got to put up a graphic. You know.
Gotcha, dog.
But what was the premise of the game?
I don't know, man. I was one of those kids that just like played a game, like when it started up and it started like fucking all the text. I would just hit X or whatever back then, like B B B B B B B. I always skipped the story, man. I just wanted to play. I don't know what half the games I didn't even know what Metroid was about. That was my favorite game. I was just like, yeah, I'm looking for the statues with the balls on them. Like,
until you beat it 3 times and she was in a bikini.
And she was in a bikini. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start paying attention.
I'm gonna start paying attention a little more here. This is
a good game.
This is a really good game. This is a little inappropriate, but this is enjoying.
This is a highly intellectual game here. So this is the gameplay, dog. What? What?
Look at that hanging from the ceiling, dude.
Dog, player 1 was a duck of some kind, and then player 2 was like a Geordie LaForge with like a horseshoe haircut. Oh, that shit was whack. But I loved it.
Man, dude. Well, the health started at 1,000, dude. That man, you had a long.
Gangster.
Look at that.
Gangster.
player 2, it's got 1,000 health, man.
All right.
I always like those kind of games better though, because I hated those games where like if you got hit 3 times you were dead. I hated that, man. Like, and not because they were more difficult. It's just like who gets hit 3 times and dies? Like if you bumped into somebody, it's like they're, you know, let's say that the rating was a heart. You had like 3 hearts. If you like bumped into somebody, they didn't even do anything, they didn't bite you or anything, and you lost a whole heart. I didn't like that.
Yeah. I think Zelda was like that, man. Zelda was really high, man. All right, man. So the second game that I fucking loved was Metroid, dog.
Oh God, dude.
That joint.
This is
Woo!
it's a fucking masterpiece. I mean,
what?
Fucking masterpiece.
What?
I mean,
God damn, dude.
And it's not a masterpiece just because Nelson got excited after he beat it 3 times. She was in the bikini.
I mean, that had something to do with it, for sure. I would be lying if I said, you know, I wasn't trying to see her naked, and you know what I'm saying. But
like, I see a pattern.
You know,
if I beat it 4 times.
Look at this, dog. Look at this. Like, I get it. I get all you kids watching this are like, oh, they look so stupid. Like, shut the fuck up, okay? This is 8 bits, dog. Like the feeling that this scenery conveys with 8-bit graphics. Like, dude, this is some weird cave you're in, and it's just made of metal and stone, and it's like some weird alien world, man. That's fucking phenomenal. I don't know.
That game, dude. I would spend day and night beating that thing. Like,
yeah, man.
It's I think the game got really excited when you got the suit that you could flip.
Yeah, man.
Or killing things with your flip. Well, that's when it got turned up right there.
That's I mean, that's what I loved about the game
anymore.
I loved the game because it was like the more you played, the better the character became. It was almost RPG in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like you would get the little ball, you'd get the little bombs. You could like lay bombs. You had the wave beam, the freeze beam. Dog, like what, man? That game was fucking awesome. But you know what I thought was really fucking cool about the game? And I don't think they planned it this way, okay? I don't think they planned it this way at all. But one of the coolest fucking things about the game that, I mean, when you're talking about building up suspense and frustration and just like panic, like the panic that would set in when you fought Mother Brain. When you fought Mother Brain, I want you to look at this scene, right? Can you see my cursor at all?
No, but
all right. So you come in on the right, okay? You come in on the right through that little opening, and then you got that little fucking blue doohickey bullshit. And then Mother Brain is shooting out these little fucking rings at you, and they're just kind of floating around everywhere, right? And then, dude, it's like all this chaos is going on. But here's the part that I don't think they anticipated, but it added so much to the game. Basically, what would happen is there's so much going on in the screen that it would overwork the processor for the Nintendo. And you would glitch and move in slow motion. And you would get hit and you'd fall into the lava and you're losing energy and and it's slow motion when you're in the lava trying to get back out, and you got all these fucking things attacking you and like little fucking Metroid larvas, and dog, it's total insanity, but everything's moving in slow motion because it's overwhelming the processor, and that to me just added so much fucking God damn, dude. It was just, you're just in panic mode.
I wish there was somebody there to explain that it was the processor being slowed down. Because I always just thought it was, man, it's fucking game, man. Like,
Nah, dude. Nah,
bro,
dude.
why every
Listen,
time I get here, this thing happens?
it was not meant to have that. Like that processor was not meant to have 100 things moving on the screen independently. That was not. It's not what the processor was intended for. That processor was intended for this bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
$5.99 for
And then
ghetto kid game.
some jackass came along and was like, "Nope,
This is a
nope."
real video game. But you're poor, you have the xenomorph.
Look at this shit. How beautiful is that, dog? For 8 bits, that is fucking beautiful. Anyway, man, the next one, motherfucking. Where are we at?
So mad.
Man, I hate this shit. I swear I upload shit and then it doesn't upload. Anyway, Halo. Ivan? 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 Ivan?
I'm listening.
Oh, yeah, Halo, the video game.
This you're about to throw up Halo. This is when I stopped gaming.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool. Like I played, but I think this is when I just like I don't know. I stopped gaming at that point. Like it was just too many fucking buttons, man. It was like buttons, like
Nah, I hear you, dude.
buttons to push buttons and buttons on top of buttons.
Listen, man. I hear you, dog. I was on I was doing Super Nintendo, and then I don't know, man. I found better stuff to play with, like women.
Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like
it
was way more fun.
And like for me, I don't even think it was even bitches and shit. Like I don't know what it was. I just really lost interest in games when they just started getting like way too complicated to fucking play. You know what I mean?
Nah, I hear you, man. But Halo, like my neighbors played it, David played it, and we just got sucked into like tournaments and shit. And it was epic, dude. Just being able to like battle other people. That shit was just fucking awesome, man. But anyway, that's another alien game that I thought was really cool as shit. All right, let's move on to movies.
What, dude? You got to give a shout out to the worst alien game ever.
All right, what's that?
E.T.
Oh, I didn't even know they had a fucking game.
You've played that game?
Nah, I didn't.
You've never played E.T. All right.
Nah.
So I was
on Atari or Nintendo?
On Atari, yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
So I was watching this show on Netflix, and they talk about the games that made us, right? And they talk about that video game, and in Jaws is one of them. It's just like the worst game ever made. And the E.T. game, like the story behind that was, the movie comes out, they're like, we have to make this we have to make this game. It's got to be released when the movie comes out. They never really, if I'm not mistaken, they never really even finished the game. They just put it.
My guy, this is a game that they didn't even fucking try.
Like, dude,
what?
It was so fucking
what is
I
that?
didn't even understand the game.
What the fuck?
I didn't understood the game. Like I was like,
bro, that's incomplete.
It was incomplete. I swear to God, it was incomplete. Like if anybody watching, Google the shit, and if it wasn't incomplete, it was damn near incomplete. Like it
made
no fucking sense. Like So
All right.
got the game. We were excited, man, because we had Atari and we went out. We got that fucking game at home, and you know, when you would buy a game back in the day, they were like fucking $60, man. You know what I mean? Like, and $60 for a game in
Back then.
was that was a big fucking deal, man.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like $60 for a game now. I mean, like $60 for a game now, like shit, man. That's a steak and two beers. You know what I mean? But
Right.
back then, that was some serious shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had to beg your parents. And we got home, we played that game, and we were just like, what happened? What the hell just happened? Like, we did not understand the game at all.
Right.
Like, and we probably played it for a week and still couldn't figure out what the hell happened.
That's some fucking ass garbage, dude.
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible.
All right, well, let's segue that into movies. Boom.
Oh, there we go.
That shit was dope. Listen,
Love it.
Steven, this is when Steven Spielberg still had it. Like, this motherfucker, dog, E.T. was such a great film, not just as a child, man. It's just, dog, it just taps into your fucking creative side of your brain, dude. And it was fun. It was presented in a very fun way. But yeah,
I love E.T. It was great.
E.T. was the shit, dude. Needless to say, man, if we're doing a topic on aliens and we're talking about movies, you got to do Alien. So Alien is Ridley Scott, which, he does amazing work until he became Christian, and then he tried to connect Jesus to the movie Aliens, and that's really where I think he fucked up. But all the previous films before the Prometheus and all that bullshit, they were really good, man. And actually, Alien was supposed to be a low budget film, and it did really well. So then they came out with Aliens, plural, which was a much better film, higher budget, and it fucking kicked ass, dude. A lot of people don't even know Alien was a movie. They think the first Aliens was Aliens, plural, part one.
I remember going to go see Aliens and standing in the kitchen, and I was very fortunate that my brothers were older than me. So like when we would go see movies, the rating was never a topic. Like it was never a debate like, oh, Ivan's too young to see that. I mean, like I was really young and got to go see that shit in the theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah, our parents didn't give a fuck, dude.
Like it was like, oh, okay, you guys want to go see that? I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go watch it.
Dog, I remember seeing a movie when I was gay. By the way, this is Aliens Part 2, really great. I remember my dad walked in the room one time. I mean, my mom walked in the room one time, and I was watching a movie with my dad, and it was really bad. I don't remember what it was. I want to say like Toxic Avenger or some shit. It was definitely along the lines of like Trauma. And my mom walks in the room and she goes, "What are you doing, man? He can't watch this movie." And my dad goes, "Don't worry, he'll never remember this." Because I was so young. And I remember it.
Years later, you're talking about it on here.
Yep.
Of course you remember, dude. I mean,
especially when it's traumatic. Like people are ripping somebody's guts out. The fuck? I'm 3.
Oh, no, I remember all sorts of movies from when I was little, like ones that were extremely inappropriate. Like I remember my dad rented Cheech and Chong at Errol's.
Errol's, shout out.
It's like
rest in peace.
As a matter of fact, I met the guy Errol, like the actual guy that was named after.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
He grew up in Centerville, and his grandfather started Errol's and named it after him. So it wasn't like he
invented it.
A baby, like
right.
He was a baby, and he happened to be the grandson, and they named it they named the whole video chain after him, which is
That's
kind of
pretty dope.
yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyways, the whole video chain, it was so cool when you would go to the video store and like there'd be like 3 copies of like Aliens, and you were oh, it just came out, let's get it.
Right.
And sometimes you'd have to wait until next weekend to be like, damn, dude, that thing's out. Gotta wait till next to get it.
I was the dick that stood in front and looked at that little tray thing before they took the movies and put them back in the slots.
Oh, you're talking about Blockbuster. That's
right on.
You could do that at Blockbuster. You just sit.
Yeah, dude.
You can sit there and just be like, you know what? They got like 17, 18 copies of this, and one of them's coming back tonight. This is a 48-hour rental. Like there was a technique on
oh yeah,
and standing by the drop box, you were a professional. Good for you. Errol's, you didn't know. Like that shit, and the amount of money that they would charge, like for like a late fee, it was like $5.99, and back then that was a lot of money, man.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes you'd forget about the fucking movie.
Oh,
you'd find it like a month later.
I remember Blockbuster tried to charge me like $80 for like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. And I brought it back and I was like, I don't want this. Like, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things, you forgot about it. Like you went on with it was just sitting in like a crevice underneath the couch somewhere, like, but man, did they charge you a lot of money. And it just happens to be like there was a special on, I think it was on Netflix that I watched, where they explained that whole the whole reasoning behind why they would charge you that amount. Like videotapes, when they were released by the studios, they were expensive. Like they were like $100. So when it took Blockbuster to go in and say, hey, look, we'll do a profit share with you guys. And that's why they were able to have, by the time like Titanic came out, right? When it was like two fucking videotapes to watch that movie. And it like, what was it? Like a 3-hour movie or 2.5-hour movie. They had 2 videotapes for it. And they had a whole line of shelf for it. That's why they were able to do that, was because they would get unlimited copies because the studios had a profit share with them. Great way to do business, and it put everybody out. I mean, like Errol's went out of business because of that type of agreement that they had with the studios, Had Errol's decided, you know what, let's go give profit share to the studios, they'd still be around. But they got killed. They got crushed by the big guy. And
somebody else was more creative. That's all that is. Somebody else was more
big
creative.
until they said, you know what, dude, why are we buying $100 videos when we can get them for free and then we'll just profit share?
Mm-hmm.
Genius. Good for them. But anyway.
Let's get this going, man. Dude, at this point we only have 10 minutes left, dude, for some alien shit. I'm telling you, man. All right. Let me see. We got, oh man, this was one of my faves, bro. Oh snap. Critters. It was dope, dog. If y'all don't know, man, go check that shit out. We got oh man, I didn't get an image for Predator. I'm doing this in a rush, so unfortunately I don't have.
I thought Critters was kind of like the hood version of Gremlins.
Nah, no way, dude. Completely different premise. Completely different premise. Mugwais never had an origin. You know what I'm saying? But critters were aliens. And then bounty hunting aliens, shape-shifting bounty hunter aliens arrive to kill the critters that arrived previously. It's fucking awesome.
Speaking of the Mogwai, I would love to see that redone.
Yeah, I have a Mugwai tattoo. I don't think it needs to be redone. I think they could just continue it. That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, or continue it like they're doing.
How about like one of the great grandchildren?
Like how they're gonna do Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's what they should have done with the last Ghostbusters. Like that should have been a cast of like all the daughters of the original members. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They messed up with that one.
Yeah,
and it was a great cast. Poor movie. Just didn't work.
I do have a Predator. All right, there you go. All right, everyone, that's Predator. We got to move on though. So sorry, we'll do another one just for movies. And then one of my fave, fucking B-rate, but awesome, dog. Starship Troopers. That's one of those movies I could keep watching back to back. They just keep that motherfucker on repeat, dog. That shit is dope. You got aliens, you got shit blowing up, you're shooting shit, you got gore, you got titties all over. It's a good movie, man. Action packed. You know, it's got a little love story, you know. All right, man. So let's get through this. Contact.
Start. Oh, okay.
Contact was the shit.
I loved it.
Yeah, Contact was the shit. I don't have an image for Cocoon. Cocoon, everybody check it out. Cocoon was the shit. And K-Pax. K-Pax was my shit. I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but he may or may not be an alien. So I don't know if this falls under the category, but I like to think he was an alien. So
I do too, and it's kind of like Contact too, because like you don't really know, you know what I mean? Like in Contact,
they leave it open ended. Yeah,
she falls through, and like in the damn video, which is what their proof is of what happened, she just fell right through, and she comes out and had this, you know, this profound experience, and they're like, you didn't.
Are you? Oh, whoa! Dude, what the fuck kind of spoiler alert is that?
Oh man, come on, man! Everybody's seen that.
Oh, all right. If you want to be that guy.
But K-Pax was kind of the same at the end, where you're just like, it's left up to you.
Yeah. Like, I hear you.
And I typically don't like those movies where it's like left up to you. That shit kind of pisses me off. I'm like, well, your job is
it's got to be done right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it like because if you don't do it right, it just looks like lazy writing. It just looks like you were like, oh, I can't decide. I don't know how I should end it. Fuck it, I'm gonna leave it open ended. Like an open ended ending, like no matter how you look at it, it has to be like there can't be any holes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's hard to do, man. Otherwise, it just looks really fucking lazy.
No, I mean, like, there's a lot of open-ended movies where I'm just like, bleh. You know what I mean? Like, so, but where like you're on the fence of your opinion and how you interpreted it, they got to put you right there where you can go either way, and that's how it's successful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that delivery is successful.
Agreed.
I like them both.
All right, man. Let's move on to the meat and potatoes. of this topic. Listen, I might just go on overtime for this motherfucker because I swear to God, you know what? We're gonna have to do a part 2 and just like really fucking nerd out on this shit. But here's my experience with the whole in real life aliens, and I'm not talking about I saw a fucking light one time in the sky. Aliens exist. That's not what I'm talking about, dude. I'm talking about some real nerd shit. Like if you do research, there is shit. And I'm not talking about pictures that could have been doctored or some fucking crazy conspiracy theorist dude you heard like years ago. It's not what I'm talking about, dog. I'm talking about some real shit. I'm talking about scientists, archaeologists. You know what I'm saying? But my neighbor, Eric, you remember Eric?
Yeah.
Eric.
If he's watching, love you, Eric.
Yeah, hey, shout out Eric. Yo, that was
Eric,
a cool motherfucker.
what up?
And basically what happened, man, is we were shooting the shit off this exact same topic. We were nerding out on some fucking alien shit, right? And he was like, yeah, man, that's like Chariots of the Gods. And I was like, what the fuck is Chariots of the Gods, my dude? And he literally goes in his house and brings out this book by Eric von Daniken. All right. Yo,
Von Daniken, dude.
Let me tell you something. I don't read. Anyone who knows me, I don't read. I read comics. That's it. I don't read shit. Chances are, if you sent me a fucking article, texted it to me, or sent it on Messenger, I ain't reading shit. If they're in a YouTube video, I don't read. But he handed me that book, and I just read the fucking cover, dog. Did astronauts visit the Earth 40,000 years ago? Is there evidence of a prehistoric airfield in the Andes? Did extraterrestrial beings help set up the giant stone faces that brood over Easter Island? And other Earth mysteries unanswerable until our own space age. What? What? That right there captivated me. So I read the book. Holy shit, man. Changed my motherfucking life. Hey, real quick, I forgot Fire in the Sky. Shout out. That's a true story. So we'll tie into that.
I love it.
What we're talking about. But yeah, man. So that was my first introduction into like a real, like, you know what I mean? A real perspective on aliens, not fantasy. Like it was like actual like meat and potatoes.
Well, like Von Daniken, man, gosh, man, you know, we could sit here and do an episode on him and alone. I mean, we're waiting until the last 4 minutes. Horrible. But like I love how much material he comes to the table with, and his perspective on like what aliens are to him. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot like the things that we talk about, like that they're chariots of gods, right? Like they are the higher being in his book. You know what I mean? I love it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he's presuming that they were here. So I mean, a lot of the evidence, to be fair, a lot of the evidence that he has, you know, like he's going into it with a preconceived notion. So you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. I had downloaded something.
Well, he's written a lot more books than just that. So it's, you know what I mean? He's
yeah, I've read them. I think that Chariots of the Gods was the best. I think all the other ones he starts to reach, like real shit. Like by the third book, he's like translating script from some like tribe nobody's ever heard of. Like is that even true at that point? But what I found really suspicious was that, like, you know how in poems the last words rhyme or should, unless you're one of those pretentious people that are like, oh, they don't have to rhyme. Yeah, that's because a non-poet wrote a poem. That's why. And you're like, no, 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 it doesn't have to rhyme. No, it has to rhyme. Otherwise, you're just talking. But anyway, it was rhyming, and I was like, how did you translate it and it rhymes, my dude? Like that makes no fucking sense. So I don't know, man. I think he was reaching. You know what I'm saying? But Chariots of the Gods, he ended up having a special on like Discovery Channel. Which was dope, man. I mean, they had him on there and he was really putting all the images together and shit like that, man. It was fucking dope, man. But I'll give you a little something, something, a little taste of Eric Von Daniken. But so he talks about like the ancient Mayans and Aztecs and shit. And he talks about this stone tablet here, dude. And one of the interesting things about this tablet was when people first saw it, it was sideways. So it just looked really weird. But, you know, he had proposed that like this is the way it's meant to be. And you know, his argument is that it resembles a rocket ship and that's how astronauts sit. And if you look at his hands, it almost looks like they're playing with levers. And if you look at his nose, there's something attached to his nose, kind of like it would be like oxygen or some shit. But the point is that this whole contraption he's sitting in is shaped like a rocket. And if you look at the bottom, it almost looks like fire coming out of the bottom of it, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, you know, maybe it's something else. I don't fucking know, but you know,
Prove them wrong.
prove them wrong. Come up with your own fucking theories. I'm just saying, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of weird shit out there, man. There's fucking Earth Grid. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the Earth Grid.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, so apparently, you know, look, man, I'm not an expert. You know, I just heard this through the grapevine, and I googled it, and that's about all I know. So do your own fucking research. But apparently, like, there's an ancient map of Earth, and before you know, we put like squares onto everything. The way that the Earth was mapped out was kind of like a soccer ball. And there was these points on Earth that there's just like I'm gonna oversimplify it. It's just points on Earth where there's like, I don't know, more energy or more magnetism or some shit like that. So like people with a higher technology, maybe aliens, um, recognize these spots and their technology uses that, right? So anyway, apparently there was like this map, right? And there's certain spots where the points where they intersect are called geodes or whatnot. And there's just certain points that intersect, and those are like major places. This is your pyramids of Giza. This is Machu Picchu. This is all these strange, like Easter Island. It's all these strange places that have like strange shit that we can't explain. And I can't verify what I'm about to say, but apparently, like if you could laser beam on one of those geodes right through, like I'm just gonna make some shit up, right? Like if you were to laser through, say, the pyramids of Giza and went through the center of the earth and came out the other side, on the other side would be some other fucking shit, you know, that people can't explain, you know, like I don't know, Bermuda Triangle or some shit like that. Yeah, man. So Earth grade, man, Google it. Some weird shit, really
Yeah,
weird
yeah,
shit.
yeah. I've heard of what you're talking about. In the Bermuda Triangle, they have like it's it's like positive to negative. It has one off the coast of Japan, and and it's kind of like the same thing. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of like the same thing. They have like their Bermuda Triangle out there.
Yeah. Yep. Makes sense.
It does make sense. It does make sense, man. You know,
Yeah.
I when it comes to when it comes to extraterrestrials, man, there's no one on this planet that has convinced me any more than Bob Lazar, right? Like, and I hate to just jump right into him. It's just, but
Nah, man, we're all over the place.
the segue is there, man. Like this guy, dude, and
Bob Lazar, dog.
I love watching all of his.
Do your research, people. YouTube, Google. It's some real shit, man.
What he talks about. But damn, man. So like, you know, I've throughout my, you know, time of like loving on, you know, on aliens and stuff like that, and I've never Wikipedia'd him. And so I Wikipedia'd him right before I jumped on, and they fucking tear him up, man. Like, you know, in the sense of they're just like, there's no love there. They're just like, he has no basis, and you know, his claims have no.
They're haters.
Like, it's just awful. So don't listen to that. You know, listen to what the man has to say.
No, we sound like a cult right now.
No, I'm just saying, listen to what the guy has to say. I'm not
Don't
saying.
listen to Wikipedia. What the fuck do they?
You know, I mean, he has, you know, his things that he talks about, like, you know, antimatter and like, and element 115. I mean, this shit is so interesting. And at the time when he's talking about this shit, I mean, it was complete science fiction, right? For somebody to claim that there was an element 115, you know, in the 80s, folks, we have already discovered element 115 in 2003. So it's really cool to like see that, you know, 20 years after he makes these claims that there is an element 115, but it's also completely unstable, or we can't stabilize it, and it disintegrates within milliseconds. But
which is probably why it doesn't exist on Earth.
You know, so hold on, let me look this up. So he claims that the alien craft ran on that antimatter reactor powered by element 115. And right now we know that element 115 exists, and in his time, he called it something completely different, but it doesn't matter. Like at that time, the point is why I feel like his story has like holds water, is that at the time people thought that there couldn't be another element, and he's like, yeah, there is, and that element is what causes anti-gravity. And if you follow the guy, like I love how he explains how these saucers propel themselves, and it's almost like rather than propelling themselves, they bend gravity and fall. And
yeah,
that whole concept of, you know what I mean? Like it was unheard of back then. I mean, you know,
that to me, when I heard that part of his interview, that to me was the part that I was like, look, this guy has to be telling the truth. And let me explain why. Because a person, let's get to the meat, okay? This is not a nobody. This dude is a fucking engineer. He's not some dumbass who's just trying to get recognition. He already had recognition when he was a fucking child. Like he was a fucking genius. I forget at what age, right? Anyway, became an engineer, got hired by like, dude, this motherfucker is a genius, okay? But my point is this, that if he was able to imagine a technology that can travel through space, he would be the next fucking Gene Roddenberry, dog. The amount of creativity that he comes up with, this guy could be rich writing sci-fi novels, right? But he swears it's not. Like, he hasn't made money. He has gone out of his way to not make money out of all his claims, just so people wouldn't think he's doing this just to get money. But what Ivan's saying was the part that got me. This that's way beyond anything I've ever heard of. The most creative shit I've ever heard. So his claim is that through an electromagnetic field or some shit like that, they can project some fucking shit, like let's say a foot away from the front of the ship or whatever direction you want to go in. And it's so dense that its gravity is stronger than anything around it. So your ship gets pulled towards this thing that you're projecting out there. So it's pulling it. Essentially, it would be like you falling towards Earth, but you're falling towards this point. That's the most incredible shit I've ever fucking
It's
heard.
incredible, isn't it? I mean,
like that dude could have got hired by like Ridley Scott and made a movie. Like that's phenomenal. Another point that he made that I was like, that's some shit you had to have experienced. Otherwise, you're just like super creative. He said he was working on one of the ships and he goes under the ship while the electromagnetic field was on. And when he went under the ship, he could see the roof of the hangar. He could see right through the ship. And he explains that he theorizes that the electromagnetic device is so powerful that it's bending the light around it so that when you're looking at it, you can't even see it because the very light coming at your eyes from the roof is bending around it and back down. What? That's fucking crazy.
It's crazy. And that's what he said.
I'm sorry. Can I just say something really quick
Yeah,
along those lines? Go ahead. To give you an idea of like what the fuck that's like, right? I used to go to a tech school for electronics. The TVs we used to have, the ones with the big back, they have a little fucking electromagnet about this big, right? It's a yoke. And you're shooting light through that yoke, and that yoke is so fucking powerful. That electromagnet is so fucking powerful that it spreads the beam of light, right? And it just interlaces up and down, side to side. And that's how you get images. That's how you used to get images on your screen. So, like, that's what this dude is talking about, times like a million. Like, so you can bet like
and this is with what you're saying. His claim was, and this is on Wikipedia, so anybody can look this up. But Wikipedia fucks him up. But when they start going into his claims, you're like, well, damn, you didn't give him a chance. But like all the stuff that you're talking about, like this is interesting, right? So, So he said that the element 115, they called it at the time, it was called unimpendium, and it had not been artificial created at the time. But in 2003, they synthesized it and they named it, and I could be wrong on the pronunciation, but Moscovium.
That was in the ion collider, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So and so So he further said that the propulsion system relied on a stable isotope of
Isotope.
isotope of E115, and this allegedly generates a gravity wave that allows the vehicle to fly and evade visual detection by bending light around itself.
Yeah, man.
Dude, how can you not believe this man?
That's what I'm saying, man. That's some Gene Roddenberry shit. Like that's what
Like,
makes Star Trek. That's what makes Star Trek so successful. Is that Gene Roddenberry like is that creative and uses science to back up what he's saying. A lot of shit in Star Trek, just like who's the other guy? Fucking Orwell or whatever his name was, or H.G. Wells. Like what happens is they end up becoming visionaries. Like their imagination is so fucking creative that they end up predicting the future. You know what I'm saying? Like Gene Roddenberry invented the fucking touchscreen, dog. Like he had enough imagination to say, why are we using buttons when we can just directly interact with the screen? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of it's imagination. That's all I'm saying is that like if Bob Lazar was that creative, and we're talking about back in the 80s, this dude could have made his own show, his own movies, and profited off this shit.
He could have done anything, and now he
his life is ruined.
Well, he owns like a research company, doesn't he? Something like that. Like, isn't that what he does? Like, he does.
I'm saying that they came after him. He ended up getting divorced because his wife thought he was fucking insane, and everything that comes with outing the government.
And I love that, back then you had the infamous Area 51, and he was like, no, this is down the street. Like he didn't even go with the Area 51. He said there's S4, and S4 was, for a lack of better terms, it was down the street. It was around the corner. And that was another reason why you're just like, God, like he could have picked Area 51 just to go with what people think is the place where the aliens would be. I don't have it in front of me right now, but like he also claimed that there was not just like one extraterrestrial being that has visited us, and there's multiple. There's like a good amount that we've made contact with, but I mean that's just crazy, dude. Like just to
man.
Like if he's right, I mean, or even when you just think that maybe he's right, like maybe he's believable, I mean, it makes your imagination just run completely wild, man. Because like the whole thought that we're not alone is like, it's one thing, but when you have somebody say, I've seen multiple extraterrestrials, I mean, that's
the thing about that notion of like we are not alone is like we've always had that sentiment as humans. And I mean, look, I'm an atheist, and I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but I'm not very PC. The whole notion of not wanting to be alone is how religion got started. It's like we don't want to believe that this entire like we're not here by ourselves. Like someone has to be watching over us. You see what I'm saying? So it's like if you can believe in an imaginary thing that you've never seen and you call it God, why can't you believe in an imaginary thing that you've never seen called aliens? Like I don't understand, why there's a skepticism about aliens but not about God. It's odd. It's more believable to me. It would make more sense. Like, what would make more sense, right? That a God comes to Earth and is like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" Or like beings like ourselves that travel through space, like kind of, I don't know, like we're traveling through space. Like, doesn't that make sense? It just makes more sense. It makes more logical sense. Anyway,
No,
but
I'm with you on that. I think it makes more logical sense that you know that we were colonized by extraterrestrials. I mean, like you got it, and why I say that is like, look, the human race, like all we do is like when we're looking, through our high powered telescopes and what we have, like we're always looking for ants that that we can inhibit, right? I'm sure other worlds were thinking the same thing. Like, and what would we do if we find a place that's inhabitable, we can reach there?
yeah,
Drop some people off, right?
right. Which just brings more questions, like where'd they go?
Like drop some people off,
Right, but why don't we know that? Like, what would have been the point of just dropping people off and dying with that secret? You know what I'm saying?
Overcrowded.
No, no, no. I'm saying, like, why don't we know that now? Like, like, like we left Europe and came to the Americas, but we know we came from Europe. Well, I shouldn't say we, but you know what I'm saying. Americans.
Like it's documented. It's documented. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is documented in that same fucking picture you showed on Von Daniken.
Yeah.
We just can't make sense of it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of weird shit like that. Not
How
to get
about
off.
that? Like maybe it was already documented and we just can't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. No, it's possible. One of the working theories that I've been working on is kind of that. What if? Okay, hear me out. All right, and I think one of the issues is that whenever we try to think about like how we got here, whether it's religious or aliens or whatever, I think we tend to like glorify ourselves. Right? It's like, well, God put us here, and we're the chosen ones. Right? It's like He loves us so much, and that's why he made us ignorant or whatever, right? Or even with aliens, like we tend to think stuff like that, like, oh, they're watching us. It's like maybe they don't even know we're fucking here, dude. Maybe they came and they were like, fuck, it's all primitive lives, we'll come back in like 10,000 years or something, you know what I'm saying? But like, one of the working theories that I have going on is it possible that we're just like the slaves of aliens? We're like the workers. Like, we're on the ship with them, but we're kind of like ants that just kind of do the work. We generate the energy. So like, whenever they're headed somewhere, they have to make a pit stop for resources. Why the fuck would they do the work? So they have a hull full of slaves. They land, drop us off, and they kind of like genetically engineer us to want to do the work so that they don't have to give us orders, right? That would suck if you have to be behind people all day, like, hey, don't forget to mine for gold. Don't forget to get diamonds. It's like we're compelled. Think about it. Almost every civilization mines for gold and diamonds, right? It's like it's programmed in us to look for gold and diamonds and other shiny, really cool stuff. But it's really odd that as technology has evolved, like we used to wear gold because it was shiny and it looked cool and it was yellow. And we like diamonds because of the way that the sun would give a kaleidoscope of rainbows, right? But now that our technology's evolved, it's like, holy shit, gold, the two things that we've always, you know, always like wanted, that we people die mining for, happens to be the best conductor of electricity. happens to be the best refractor of lasers. So I kind of feel like we're programmed to mine these resources for the technology that they want us to, which is why we're compelled to build things out of it. It's like we're inevitably we will build the technology that these aliens are using because they programmed us to. Because we're the slaves, we're the ones working on the shit. We're mining the shit. We're the workers.
That's interesting. I like that.
Why else? I mean, you had cavemen looking for shit that we're just now using. We've mined almost all the fucking gold, all the diamonds. Why not other metals, right? I'm just saying, man.
On another note, I mean, like diamonds is pretty abundant. I mean,
yeah, let's not get into that. The burrs, and,
you know, but it's.
I know. That's another episode.
Yeah, that shit's kind of crazy, but no, I think that's interesting. You know, look at it. You know, I got nothing on that, man. You got my wheels turning, and I've never looked at it that way. And
yeah,
so
like I said, man, it's just we tend to we tend to glorify. You know what I'm saying? Like we did it with religion. Every religion, like we're the chosen people, and you know, I and as an atheist, I'm like, well, we were wrong. You know what I'm saying? We're very insignificant if there is a God. We're very insignificant. So it's like you have to follow that same logic with this new God that we're searching for, which is an alien creator. It's like, well, yeah, you just have to follow the same pattern that we're just insignificant. We're completely insignificant. Like they're not coming for us, and you know, like
anybody, if anybody watching this has fucking dropped acid before, I'm sure they're probably like,
whoa, we don't condone drugs on this podcast. Fuck that. Yes, we do.
Okay, man. Oh my god, I was about to be taken back. Like,
listen, you don't buy a shirt like this.
I'll tell you, man,
without having eaten a shit ton of mushrooms.
Never forget. I'll never forget this time I fucking trip with some friends when I was in high school, and I remember you know it was one of those like scenes where like the light turned into a campfire and we just started you know like talking about aliens and shit like that, and during that conversation it was it kind of went off the handle, right? Like we were like, oh man, well, you know, like, you know, what if we're just like you know, like the worlds are like just molecules, and and so this is going to sound like a little psychedelic, right? So, but it was one of those things where it was like, what if the worlds were just like molecules, and we're like little fucking germs on the molecule, like, and what's to say we're not like a little germ on like a bigger human being, right? Like, because if you look at the solar system, it could very well be that, except we're just somehow intelligent.
Now there's something to that. I mean, like I've always like I'm obsessed with fractal geometry. Google it. It's really cool, man. They're really cool images, but the beautiful thing about fractal geometry is that it repeats itself like from a micro level to a macro level. So I have found that pattern repeats itself. I'm big into nature. Like I love going out.
Yes, this is exactly it. This is exactly
so
what
like. So I think this is what you're saying is like if you were to look at a model of an atom, right? You you have your neutrons, protons in the center, and then that's sort of like your nucleus, and then you have these electrons spinning around it. If you zoom up from that, you have cells, you have a nucleus, and then all this other shit around it, right? And then you zoom up and you see our solar system, and it has the same model. And then you zoom up from that, and you have a galaxy, and it has the exact same model. So I've found that with nature is it's sort of like this. It has a very fractal nature.
Now,
I think that's what you're
I
saying.
think that's exactly what we were what we were talking about, except it was the LSD version, right? Like,
Right
no,
on.
I mean, to the fucking T. Except no one said, "Oh, this is fractal geometry." You know,
Right.
it was like very like layman's terms, and
I gotcha.
dude, that night my dad came to visit us. I don't know. I think I forgot something at the house, and he like came to drop off something. I don't know, maybe a change of clothes or something over at my house. And I sat in the car with him, and
Holy shit.
that like I started talking about this stuff, and he actually found it interesting.
That's awesome.
And how the fuck he didn't know? Like my son's on drugs.
Yeah, but maybe he's into that shit. Like my dad for sure would have been like, ¿Qué estás endrogado? ¿Qué pendejada estás hablando?
I mean, like when I was in the car, I was in the car with my dad for like probably 45 minutes, and like I thought I'd explain to him like how life works. Like, there's everything's on a pyramid scheme, Dad. Like, and it's like here, and then there's it makes no sense now, but
it makes sense.
When I was explaining it to my father, and
Yeah, it makes perfect
if he ever watches this, he's gonna be like, "Oh, mijo!" Like,
oh shit, he was on acid.
It's like, dude,
He'll probably call you. He'll
mean,
probably call you and be like, "Oh shit, dude, I was tripping too. I never told you. We were on the same wavelength, dude."
my dad is such a straight edge. There's no way. But what you're saying that fractal geometry. I mean, like that's really like in a nutshell. That's what we were talking about. I mean, like, what's to say something smaller doesn't keep repeating itself, and it's not.
I mean, like I said, like all of nature is fractal. You would be an idiot to believe that everything isn't that way. Like it would just be impossible. Everything is fractal. Everything in nature is fractal, dude. Everything like something must die for something to be created. Like that is fractal, dude, on the smallest level to the largest level. Like nature gives you these examples of
yeah, tree falls over, creates
allows sunlight in to let the smaller ones grow, so on and so forth. Like that's just the way it is, man.
That's the circle of life.
But I forgot we got off topic. How does this tie into aliens?
That's exactly what I would. No, and I think that I think that that's like I think that has a lot to do with extraterrestrials. I think that's it relates, even though we're not talking about ET. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Now I'm drunk, so
I don't see it, but all right. I mean, it was a cool little tangent.
I took a couple shots of this Pisco, man, and
and that was it. All right, look. Here's some more images then. Look. Dog, what? Some real shit, man. What?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I threw this in there,
this
but
one has been explained.
yeah, I'm not a fan of like the monolith, like pyramids of Giza. Like, I'm not there with aliens. Like, I'm not gonna easily explain away a phenomenon with aliens like religious people do with God. You know what I'm saying? I don't
Yeah.
want to create the same pattern where it's like, oh, well, the stars are in the sky because of God. Duh. It's like, but how, motherfucker? Like, what's the science behind it? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when we're like, how did the Egyptians build the pyramids? And people are like, well, aliens helped them. But that's just a convenient explanation. I mean, wouldn't it be more logical to say that the people who built the people that had the ability to build pyramids and stack giant stones, like, you don't think those same people had the ability to build a scaffolding system or a crane? Like, that makes more logical sense to me. It's like, if you could build a crane, you can build a fucking pyramid, dude. Like, it's that simple.
Yeah, but
A
what
hydro-
happened to the crane?
Say what?
What happened to the crane? How come we don't have like like remnants like dug up of like, oh, there goes the crane,
Dog,
this thing, the other? Because wouldn't it be near?
dude. Listen,
It'd be
tens
nearby.
of tens of thousands of years from now, if our civilization crumbled right now because of coronavirus, right? Tens of thousands of years from now, you would not find a single crane. They would all get rusted away. They'd all be
How about a
gone.
CD? They'd probably think that's what we ate off of.
Well, a what?
A CD.
They think is a toy.
They ate. Look at this thing. Why did it have
Look
a
at
hole in the middle?
look, they had frisbees back then. Look at this.
Look at this. This is what they ate off of. This looks like this looks like
Dog,
they would eat off of.
like, we have probably found ancient technology and we're just like, oh, look, it's a bowl. Oh, look, it's a bone. It's a bone that went through their nose.
It was the first record ever. Like, but it was in the shape of a bowl. They're like, man, damn, we thought we were leaving that behind. The first thing that played music, and we're like, look at that bowl. These guys
Dog,
dumb.
just saying, man. Look, man, there's a all right, that's a whole nother topic, man. But yeah, man, like, yeah, we're kind of getting off topic with the aliens. I was just saying,
dude, keep it on topic because, dude, I've had a lot of. And
all right, man, what a perfect time to get off. All right, so while he's gone, check these images out, man. These are etched on the side of mountains. They're fucking humongous, dude. Look at this. That's humongous. That's like a whole desert right there, right? Look at this shit.
In the middle of a pandemic, and I'm over here like my nails can't
Look at this shit. This shit is nuts, man. So, the thing about these is I have trouble explaining why a group of people, the way that they created this was that they would, I don't know exactly how they created it, but it was like people would walk these paths over and over. To this day, that's the ritual. Like, you start from one end and it's just a continuous line, right? So you follow this path. Anyway, my point is this. If the whole point of building something is so that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? Like, you build a car because you want to drive it. You paint the Mona Lisa because you want to look at it. You would you know, I don't know, you would create a fucking roller coaster or some shit because you want to experience it. Why in the fuck would you lay this thing out in the fucking desert if you're never, ever, ever gonna be able to see it ever in your life? What would be the point of creating something so huge that you would never be able to see it? So, you know, I would argue that they could see it, that they were able to go into the sky. Anyway, that's my closing argument. All right, man. We are an hour and 40 minutes in. Listen, people, hang in there. Okay. We're trying to work this out. It's my first podcast. I'm trying to figure out. I think I'm putting too much into one episode. I think that's what's going on. I think we just should have done.
I told you.
Nah, you were right. You were right.
Just Bob Lazar and Von Daniken alone, and then like anything that spawns off of that, or you know, whatever it turns into. I think that you know, video game.
I'm in it. I'm with it. I'm with it. All right, people. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Please hang in there. We're gonna come up with way more topics. We might hit aliens again, man. We might have a better guest. I'm gonna try and find somebody. I'm gonna fucking get Bob Lazar. Mark my words. I'm gonna get Eric Von Daniken and Bob Lazar in here one day. God damn it! And
if we get Bob Lazar, we're done. It's over. Like that's the last episode. Like
yeah,
it doesn't get better than that. Like it's.
I think we'll get assassinated after that.
Like I think it's over after that. It's like, hey, look, signing off. This is the last episode because it's like the last episode of Seinfeld, dude. You got to walk out on a high note, you know.
I agree.
You're done.
I agree.
And how do you get much better?
I agree, man. All right, people. Like, share, subscribe, do all that shit.
Or complain.
Or complain. I don't give a shit. Comment. Definitely comment. You know what I'm saying? And let us know some topics you want to touch. And join our Facebook group. It is Nerdology 101 Podcast. And that's it, man. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Ivan. We'll be back. We're going to come up with some cool topics and shorter. I think if we could start doing like half-hour shows, that'd be cool. Anyway, all right. Adios, amigos. Sayonara. Konnichiwa. Arrivederci. Ciao, bella.